Hi, this is an update on my mother's condition today. I am sitting in the parking lot of the courthouse. I just received paperwork for her guardianship papers. Let me backtrack a little bit. Last night, I had a lot of guilt because I spent the entire evening with the children and my friends doing the trick-or-treat for Halloween and kind of trying to have a normal day for the first time in forever, which was amazing. But then I noticed that there were at least half a dozen voicemails from my mom in the evening. Just heartbreaking. Some of them where she doesn't know why she's in the hospital. Some of them knowing she's in the hospital, but why haven't we visited her? Some of them, just saying, why is no one answering? I did talk to her today. She wanted to know why I hadn't visited. And quite frankly, it was so that I wouldn't trigger her. And I haven't been able to kind of face her. But I think I'm going to go see her tonight. And I asked to talk to her nurse or her social worker, and I called the social worker. No answer, no reply, nothing. So I called the nurse's station, and they told me, even though I am the power of attorney for her health, that they could not confirm nor deny that she was there. And I said, what are you talking about? Apparently she signed some sort of waiver that no one was to have information. And I said, well, wave her down, and get consent because she wants me to talk to somebody. And so they finally received verbal consent. They're going to need to get written consent from her. Finally, as I was getting ready to go get guardianship, to get the papers to start this ball rolling. And I've never done this before. But, thank you to people who have, that have kind of sent me messages and stuff. I had no idea it was a 5 to 6 week process, but it makes sense so that people can't have their lives taken away from them without cause. Anyway, so her doctor called, and she's a lovely woman. Her name's Dr. Anna. She's also she's Asian, so she's culturally sensitive to my plight, because what we're dealing with here now is not just dementia. There is a caste system in Asian society. I mean, the older you are, the more respect you automatically have. With Filipinos, it's very ingrained, and I really can't really explain it right now. I'm kind of overwhelmed, but she said that I needed to get guardianship, basically. She said that my mother definitely has cognitive issues. They've not seen her have tempers. She's like a child that doesn't remember, and my mom, you have to tell her, she's had to tell her already today about a dozen times over and over what's going on, because my mother says she lives in a 3,500 square foot house, has 20 acres. She needs to be home. She doesn't remember that there's a PPO out against her by my dad. She doesn't remember hurting my dad, but I don't know how much of that is truth, because oftentimes when I talk to her, she has perfect recall. So this whole thing on how much of this is dementia, which we know she has. We know this. But how much of this, because she's also bipolar and also super smart. She's very, very clever. And which Dr. Anna said is very common in intelligent patients. They compensate. But I've seen her, like, she hurt Maisie. She stuck her claws into her head some weeks ago before this stuff happened. And the next week when I talked to her and I said, Mama, do you remember doing this? She said, well, of course I remember doing this. She goes, I was just playing. I mean, it's like cruel 11-year-old. She goes, I was just playing and you're trying to turn this baby against me and you're making a big deal out of it and it didn't really hurt her. I said, Mama, it hurt her. She was crying. You don't dig your claws into anyone's skull. I mean, she has frontal temporal lobe issues and she doesn't have any impulse control. Anyway, going back to the guardianship. So I went, well, first of all, I was told by the group home owner that I did apply to petition her into the psych unit again, per their request, because she was trying to leave. And that was successful. She's now in the psych unit and has been for a matter of days with no date to be released, but she does have a date for the court, which I found out only through the group homeowner. That bothered me that no one contacted me about that. I don't know if they have to, but I wasn't contacted about the date. I was told by the nurse that if she is lucid enough to convince the judge that she is not incapacitated, she won't be declared so. So I worry about that, and I probably should call the doctor to see how that works, or if she's giving a statement or a written statement or going to be on camera, or, you know, what goes on. I've never done this before. I was told at the courthouse when they gave me this package for guardianship, that if she is not declared incapacitated on the 6th during the hearing, that this is a moot point. If there's no reason for me to fill this out. However, this is a 5 to 6 week process, because I have to have everybody over 18. I need to have copies of their social security number, their license, driver's license, yada yada yada. And I have to inform all of my half-siblings, and everyone has to give their consent, basically, to this, so that I'm not, you know, obviously wresting power away from anyone. I am really overwhelmed. And I am hoping that she can get the help she needs. Now, I was also told earlier by Dr. Anna, the psych ward doctor, who is wonderful. I mean, we've dealt with so many doctors that have had lousy bedside service and have been really dismissive in the past. But this lady is amazingly empathetic and very good with her patient's family. At least she has been with me, and I appreciate that. She talks to me as if I'm a human being, and doesn't talk down. And as a very anxious, worried daughter of a psych patient, that's reassuring, and kudos to her. So anyway, I was told that, frankly, she would put her in a dementia ward, because she can't simply give them PRN injections. They don't do that anymore. I worked during college 30 years ago in geriatrics, and it was a different ballgame back then. It kind of turned me off to the whole nursing home thing. It wasn't very humane. It's a little bit better now, but I mean, because there are regulations in place that weren't there before, for obvious reasons. So yeah, so she was like, I could give her something, but I can't authorize anything to, like, you know, injections or things like that. And I said, yes, I understand that, you know, we don't want her just to be doped up. There has to be some sort of redirection. She has to be in some place she would prefer that has an experience with this. Now, what really worries me about the place that we put her in is that the reason why we put her in this place is because, number one, it was highly recommended. Number two, the owner was South Asian, and it was staffed by other Filipinos. So I thought it would be culturally sensitive. However, since putting her into this place. And she's only been in there for, you know, less than a week and then back in the psych ward. I mean, I've had him talk about things like he thought she was perfectly okay. This is a man that's worked in mental health and is an RN and has a wife with Alzheimer's herself. He was wondering when my father was going to divorce her, and I said, you know, that's not, I'm going for guardianship. Your rent's being paid. I have her petition back in. I don't see where that's appropriate that you would ask me about my father divorcing her. This is, you know, whatever she says, she's addled. I mean, and it's not his business to begin with. And then the staff will call me, and I mean, it's like no one, I just don't understand if they seem to have experience with this type of a high-functioning dementia patient, because they don't act like they do. And I also received word from the nurse and the doctor that she's going to be moved into a double room, and apparently financially the fellow that owns the place told the nurse that he wanted to make sure she was okay with that. The doctor told me that she's been in a double room since she's been there at the psych ward, so that shouldn't be a problem either. I mean, it's only $1,810 a month with her TV for a shared room. I think it's $450 more if she has a single room. I don't know. I may have to try to find another place. Don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm less sad. Well, that can change because I'm going to see her this evening. But I'm really overwhelmed. And I mean, if any of my relatives are watching this and you or my siblings and you're opposed to me doing this, or if I'm doing something wrong, please let me know, because, you know, I mean, I would love to have help with this right now. So, yeah. I don't know if I've forgotten anything, but it's really rainy out. And today was supposed to be Maisie's first day of Suzuki piano, and I had to cancel because I was on the phone all day with my mom and with doctors and running here and there for this stuff as usual. Like I said, yesterday was an amazing respite. We had so much fun and we were silly, and it kicked me out of ketosis. Thanks, Happy. But I didn't have any chocolate. It was the vodka, and still, it's okay. I'm grateful, and thanks if you watch this for listening. Okay, not gonna cry. Bye bye. Have a great day. Oh, and also happy birthday to my 24-year-old Jay. I'm sorry that we can't spend it with you up in big city where you're at, but we're still thinking about you. Bye.